The physical keyboard that came with the minimalphone works fine on its own, but my favorite is still the one from the BlackBerry Passport. The physical keyboard is simple yet functional, and the virtual keyboard is intuitively laid out. My favorite feature is the swipe left to delete whole words. With the Android app Keyboard Designer, I was able to create a Passport-inspired virtual keyboard layout along with the swipe left to delete whole words, using the screen instead of the keyboard. Keep in mind, you have to sacrifice some assist functions like the double space for a period or auto caps. It's going to be a what you type is what you get type of deal. There's no caps lock function either. This video will show you step by step how I made my Passport inspired keyboard if you want to create it on your own. There are a lot of repetitive steps because I want to show you how it's done with the free version of this app. The paid extended design package has many helpful features to let you copy repetitive tasks, but I'll only show you what the free version can do so anyone can make it on their own. On the BlackBerry Passport, this is the default virtual screen you see. It's a single line with punctuations. Hitting the Shift key only changes these two keys, the apostrophe to a quote and the colon to a semicolon. To bring up the numbers, you hit this key here and you have 2 pages of numbers and also other characters. I like to have a persistent number row, so I'm going to copy the 2-row design from the unlock screen instead. On Keyboard Designer, you have to familiarize yourself with how it labels things. For instance, a design is the number of keys and the colors, etc. If you need to change the number of rows or add keys, you will have to use another design. So here I'm going to have one design for the main entry, another design for the number pad and other characters. So I'm going to have 2 designs. One is the 2-row with the persistent number. The other design is the 4-row with the numbers and 2 pages of characters. Each page of characters is going to be a separate mode because you're switching between 2 sets of characters in that design. Get started by downloading the Keyboard Designer app from the Google Play Store. I'll leave a link in the description below. Once installed, open it up and go through the introduction screens. It'll ask you to make Keyboard Designer an active selection. Go ahead and do so, but do not select the keyboard as your current keyboard because we still need to make adjustments to it before it can be usable. Continue on with the introduction to the app. And now it's going to start a personal assistance guide, which we're just going to close. Start by going into the designs page here on the bottom. It'll show you one of their sample keyboards, but we're not going to use that. We're going to create our own because we have a physical keyboard on this phone. So we don't need the entire keyboard layout showing up as the virtual keyboard here. Hit the plus icon and click on New Design. We're going to have an empty design. As you see on the preview, there's nothing there. Click OK. Click here on the name, and we're going to name this BBP, short for BlackBerry Passport. In the usage entry, we're going to select the BBP as our default input in portrait mode for text input, number input, but not the phone input because that's a phone pad. We're going to leave that as the default. For landscape, also click on our newly created BBP, also for the number input. Click OK, and now we're out into the design page. Next, we're going to create another design because, as you've seen, the BlackBerry Passport has a 2-row design that we're going to use and also a 4-row design that we're going to use. And just remember that 4-row design has 2 pages. So in Keyboard Designer terminology, the 2-row is a design, the 4-row is another design, but each page in that 4-row is called a mode. So we're going to create another design and we're going to call it BBP Extended. And that's going to be for the 4-row, for the numbers and special characters. For some reason, the Keyboard Designer put this design as the default usage. So we're going to have to clear that out. Just change that back into BBP, the default one with the 2-row. Alright, let's get back into the design page and change the currently edited design back to BBP because we're going to work on the 2-row first. Scroll down and we're going to adjust some of the characteristics before we start adding keys. First, start with the layout. For the keyboard height, we're going to set this to 15% of the screen. And in landscape mode, we're going to use 30% of the screen. I just know these numbers work because I've did this before. Change the number of rows to 2. And for the key spacing between the key space, we're going to leave that alone because once we put in the keys later, we can adjust that and you'll see what difference it makes. We'll leave everything else alone and let's work on the colors. Color of the regular keys is how the keyboard shows up by default once it hits the screen. For this design, I want black characters on white keys, just like the physical keys. So on the main function, we can slide the slider all the way to the left for all 3 colors. That gives you all 0, and that's for black. The same with the sub function. Even though we're not going to use it, just put it there for consistency. That's that small character on the top if you were to hold the key to enter a special character. For the background, slide the slider all the way to the right for white color. It will show all Fs. Hit OK to confirm that. Now we're going to work on the colored mark keys. That's the style of the key if you were to push it. So it just shows that it's been pushed. Although on this phone, the screen refreshes so slow that it may or may not show this animation on the screen. But changing this to a different color helps with the editing because it shows which key is selected when we're editing the keys. So for the marked keys, I'm going to put it all as black for the characters, but on the background, we're going to choose a shade of gray. I'm going to show you another way to put it in. You click on the box on the right. Here you can choose a standard color. I'm going to choose that gray right in the middle there. That's how the key is going to look like. You see the character on the top. Hit OK to confirm. We're not going to deal with the pop-up keys. That's not part of our design. Keyboard background, we're going to put it as all black. And again, you can use the color selection on the right side box and just choose the black color. Do the same for the pop-up background. We're not going to change the rest because it's not going to be used. Now you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see an option for a word bar. That's for the word suggestions. We'll get back to this later. Now that the color scheme is all set, click on the keys page and we're going to start putting in the keys. Click on the top plus key button until it says you can't enter any more. Because we have 2 rows and we're going to put in 10 keys on each row, it's easier just to keep clicking until it stops. But remember, in our design, there's a large key on the bottom. So there's actually 10 keys on top and 9 keys on the bottom, one being a double width. So we're going to select the bottom right key and delete it. And then we're going to extend the width of that last key so it's double size. Go ahead, select the bottom right key, hit the 3 dots for the menu and click on delete. Now click on that last key. We're going to collapse the layout editor, and around the middle of the screen you see a key width incented. Change that to 200. Use the slider to get an approximate range and then use the plus and minus increments to change it to 200. And you see now that key is double width. Now that you can actually see some keys on the screen and how it's going to look, let's go back to the design page and change that gap width. Scroll back up. And on the key spacing and percentage of key space, increase the percentage until it gets to 95%. You can see the gaps are closing and 95% is a pretty good look. Now that the keys are the correct spacing and color, we're going to start populating the keys. Click on the keys page and let's start with the top left corner. You see that the key is highlighted based on the color scheme we selected. Now go down to Action Press and expand the options. The symbol is how the key looks like. It's not necessarily what it's going to type, it's just what it looks like. So expand that and you get a list of main characters, which is under the group page. This is pretty much all the basic keyboard characters, numbers. So hit 1 and then hit OK. You can see a sample how the key looks like. There's a 1 there. And then you see on the function type, it automatically fills it in as right. That means that if you push this key, it's going to enter in what's on the bottom output there. It says right symbol 1. So it kind of automatically fills it in for you that you want to type in 1. And for the most part of this design, this is what we're going to do. So hit OK to confirm. Now fill out the rest of the keys. The one next to that is going to be a number 2. Do the same thing again. Go to Action Press, choose the character as number 2. And again, it automatically filled it out for you. Hit OK to confirm. Just keep repeating this step until you get all the way to the number 0. Now for the bottom row, we're going to start with the characters. Just click on the button to edit, and again click on action press. When you choose the symbol here, you're going to have to scroll and look for the symbol that you want. Most of these are at the very bottom end, or it could be in between the uppercase and lowercase alphabet. That's just how they arranged it. So go through the list and look for the characters you want to populate this bottom row. Repeat across the whole row for all the characters in our design. Now we get to our last key, which is the key we're going to use to change over the keyboard to the numbers and characters design. Click on Action Press. And similar to the BlackBerry Passport keyboard, which shows at 1, 2, 3, we're just going to put in 1, 2, 3 because it only fits 3 characters. Click OK and you'll see that the button shows 1, 2, 3. And the program automatically assumes we want this key to enter 1, 2, 3. But that's not what we want. So for the function type, which tells it what we want the button to do, we're going to change it to something else. So pull down that menu and scroll down to where it shows Change Design and Mode. Now we have an entry for the target mode, and that's where we choose what we want to change it to. So we're going to choose BBP EXT. Hit OK to confirm that. Now the last thing we're going to do on this design is to create the swipe left to delete function. And I want to have it in this whole range of 10 keys on the right side so that I don't have to be so accurate while I'm typing. I can just reach up and swipe over. So what we're going to do is create a action left for every one of those keys in the range. Start with the 1, 2, 3 key. And even though it has a function for action press, you can add in an action for the left. Scroll down until you see action left. Go into the action left. And if you notice, I pressed action down left. That's a mistake. I really wanted action left, but we're going to go back and correct it later on. It gives a good example of how to correct something. So for the symbol, we're going to leave it alone. We don't have to show anything. For the function type, we're going to change it to delete. So click on the pull down and then choose delete. It's on the very top, so scroll all the way up to the top and it's there, the fourth one down. That makes it a lot easier when you have to program all these keys. You just know that you just keep swiping all the way up and it's on the fourth one from the top. After you select the delete function, you notice on the option, it says 1 character left, which is not what we want. So click on the down arrow, pull down to the menu, and choose 1 word left. Confirm that, and now we're back out into the design page. Go through every single button in that range and choose action left. Choose the delete and make sure it says delete 1 word left. Now that you're done with every button on that range, you can go ahead and double check it. So every time you click on that button from this page, you can look at the action on the bottom and make sure that it says delete 1 word for action left. And if you notice, once we hit the 1, 2, 3 key, that's where I caught my error. You see that it says action down left is the delete 1 word left. It should be in the action left. So we're going to expand the action down left, and for the function type, change it to none. Confirm that. Now expand the action left and put in the delete and make sure it's delete 1 word left. Confirm that and it's all done. You can go ahead and double check it again. Now that that's all done, you can hit on the test page and test out the entry and the swipe to left to delete. Click where it says touch the text field and start typing. On this phone you don't see it because of the way the screen is, but you can just touch the area right there and then start typing. But since this is the first time we're designing this, we have to change the input method to keyboard designer. So hit that keyboard selector icon on the right and choose keyboard designer. See, now your virtual keyboard pops up. Try entering something from the physical keyboard and then swipe left on the virtual keyboard area to delete it. You can type something from the virtual keys that you just created and again swipe left to delete it. Now you're complete with the 2-row design. We're going to start working on the extended 4-row design and the 2 pages. So go back into the design page, scroll up to the currently edited design and change that to the BBP extended. Once again, we have to change the keyboard height and the rolls and the other visual characteristics. The default 30% actually works with the 4-row because it's 15 for the 2-row, double that is going to be 30%. Landscape, I change it to 40. Number of rows, change it to 4. And the key spacing, since we used 95% in the first design, 95% will work on this one. So you can go ahead and change it now to 95%. Other settings don't need changing, but the colors need to be set again. So the regular keys, remember black, background is white. You can use the sliders or you can use the color entry boxes, which is actually faster. Colors for the mark keys, again, black, and use the color box for the background to make it the gray color. Scroll down and change keyboard background to black. Pop up background to black, just like the other one. Nothing else needs changing. Hit back key if the virtual keyboard is in the way. So now we're going to go back onto the keys page, and first we have to name these pages. So under currently edited mode, we're going to change this to page 1. Here's a good place to delete the default by swiping left. After typing page 1, click on the add button to add another mode and rename this mode page 2. Now click on the down arrow to select page 1 because that's what we're going to edit first. Click OK to confirm, and now we can populate all the keys with blanks first. Keep hitting them until it's maxed out. Now again, we're going to create that extra wide key. So we're going to delete that last key on the bottom right. Select the key, hit the 3 dots, choose delete. Hit the last key. Change key width in percentage to 200. Again, use the slider to get an approximate location and then use the plus and minus to change it to 200 exactly. As you see, a double wide key. We can collapse the design characteristics so we don't have to scroll so much. And now it's time to populate the keys. We're going to start out by changing the keys that change pages. So this wide key, we're going to use a down arrow for the character because it's kind of like collapsing the virtual keyboard to a smaller one. And here I'm going to show you how to search for a character by name. So click on the wide key on the bottom and then click on Action Press. For the character, you're going to click on the name tab here, and then you're going to click on the search box. Clear out anything if there's something in there. And for the down arrow, I like to use this symbol called a heavy white down. So type in heavy white down, and it should be the only one that comes up. Click on that, and it'll show up in the select one or more characters. Hit OK to confirm that. And for the function type, again, we're not trying to write the down arrow. We're trying to change the page. So change that to change design and mode. And on the target mode, make sure it says BBP, the default, because that's where we're trying to get to with that key. Okay, now for changing the pages within this 4-row design. Like the BlackBerry Passport, it has these 2 dots that alternate depending on which page you're on. So we're going to put a black dot on the top of this and the white dot on the bottom of these 2 keys on the side. So let's start with the top one. Click on that key to select it. Click on Action Press. And for the symbol, again, we're going to do a name search. We're going to clear out the old entry. And this time we're going to use black circle. Click on the search and you get a lot of results because there's a ton of characters here. But the black circle I want is the second one. For the function type, again, we're not going to write a black circle here. We're going to change design and mode, and the target is going to be BBP extended 2 because if we push this key, we want to go to the other page. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing for this bottom key, but for the character, we're going to use a white circle. Just like before, click on Action Press. Do a name search, this time white circle. And it's the first result there. Function type, change design and mode. And again, we're going to change it to BBP extended 2 because we're changing to the second page. is exactly the same as that top key, but the effect is you can press either one and it will go into the other page. So now those special keys are already set. You have something to go back to the to row and you have something to flip between the pages. Now comes the tedious task of filling in all those keys again. So let's start with the number pad, starting with the 0 here. As a reminder, select the key, hit on action press, and for these basic keys, you can go back to the group tab and all the numbers are under the main characters. So fill in 0 and then 1 to 9. Now we're going to fill out that bottom row of punctuations and other characters again. It's going to be exactly the same as the bottom row of the to row. Now that that's done, we're going to fill in the rest of the remaining keys. Now here I'm going to show you another way to enter the keys quickly. You'll notice there where it says white circle and then there's a slash number and then below that there's a 4-digit number. That could be 4 digits or 2 digits, but you can search by that lower number directly and every character has one of those numbers. So instead of searching for ampersand, which is going to take a long time to type out, I'm going to give you the list of all the characters I used and those numbers, so you can just search by that number. So the ampersand is number 38 on their list, so type in 38 instead of the whole ampersand. Click search. Number 38 is going to be the first one that shows up on that list, so click on that and then click on OK. And just like before, the default is writing that character that you entered in, so you don't have to change anything if that's what you want to do. Click OK to confirm. Now you're going to populate the rest of these keys, and the quick way is just search by the number I'm listing for you. Here I'm going to search for 42 for the asterisk. So just go ahead and start filling out the rest of these. I know some of these are repeats from the lower row, but that's how it is on the BlackBerry Passport keyboard, so that's what I'm going to do. You can put another character if you like, but I'm just going to follow this design. Now we get to this key here, and on the BlackBerry Passport, it's an extra Y key for a space bar. But since I have a physical keyboard with a space bar, no need for me to put that there. So I'm going to put in the open and close brackets because it's more useful than a space bar here, and fill out the rest just like the others. Okay, now the whole keyboard is filled out, at least for this page. Next, we're going to work on the swipe to delete in that range of 10 keys on the bottom 2 rows. Exact same procedure as what we did on the 2 row that we worked on earlier. Click on the key, action left, delete, delete word to the left. Do that for all of the keys. And then you can double check again like before. Now that page 1 is done, we're going to go work on page 2. Hit the keys page again, scroll all the way to the top, and choose the currently edited mode to page 2. You see now we got a blank keyboard again. We're going to start with that page flipping key on the top here. And if you remember on page 1, we had a black circle there. On this page, we're going to use a white circle on top and a black circle on the bottom. So with this key, go to action press. And on the name search, search for a white circle. Confirm the white circle. Function type. Remember, we don't want to write out a white circle. We want to change the page. So change the function type to change mode and design. And the target is going to be BBP EXT page 1. OK to confirm. Now work on the key on the bottom, which is going to be the black circle. Exact same procedure. After that, you're going to do the extra Y key, which goes back to the basic 2 row. Click on the key, action press. Search for heavy white down. And the function is change mode and design to BBP default. Once again, all the page changing keys are set up. Now is the tedious task of filling in those keys again. Same technique. Select the key, search by name. I'm giving you all the numbers I used on a list there. Now this time when I get to those two keys that was used for a spacebar on the passport, I'm going to use parentheses instead, since the brackets are already visible on this page. Now that it's all populated, we're going to work on the swipe left to delete on that range of 10 keys on the bottom right corner. Select the key, go down action left, function is delete, make sure it's delete word left. Double check your work again. Now you are totally done. You can go to the test page and try it out. Regular text input, type in something and delete it. Now here is a number entry text box. Remember in the beginning we changed everything to use the BBP default. But now that everything is done, we can use the extended 4-row with the numbers arranged more like a 10-key input pad for easier number entry. So you can pull down that option and choose BBP extended page 1 for number input. See, now whenever the system calls for a number entry, it will bring up the 4-row with the number pad instead. For the phone number input, we're going to use the BBP extended page 1. For some reason, it doesn't let me change to the number pad that's built into this app, but the extended page 1 number pad works just as well. Here's a sample of how passwords will look like. Pretty much it just covers it up with an asterisk like any other keyboard would. Okay, now remember in the beginning we ignored the word bar option. Now we can go back in and change it if you like. I don't really use it, but if you want a word suggestion box that you can use for automatic entry of suggested words, go back to the designs page to the word bar where it currently says invisible. Click into the word bar and you'll see an option for language. I'm going to choose English. Next, for the layout, you're going to have to choose top or bottom location. I'm going to use top. The other option I like to set is the suggestion separator area width. I like it a little bit wider so I don't have to be so precise with my touches. It gives a larger area for selecting which word you want. And the word lamp on the side, I don't even know how that works, and it seems like it's not really useful, so I'm going to uncheck this box. Hit OK to confirm. Now the final step is to click on the word list. Click on show and then you have to import a word list. Click on show again. It'll take you to their website to download a word list for the suggested words. And of course, this being a minimal phone, you can't see anything on this website. So pull down the menu and use the color inversion if you set that up. Otherwise, you have to find some way to see what you're doing. Agree to the cookies if you like. And you see there it says English and it has a word list for you to download. Click on the download. Once the file's downloaded, hit open and choose to open this just this once with Keyboard Designer. It will import the word list once you say import. Now you're all set with word suggestions as you type. Go to the testing page. Don't forget to turn off the color inversion if you set that up to read the web page. And start typing again and you can see how this works. You see as you type the suggestions come up on the top box. If that works for you, set that up. If not, leave it invisible. The last option I want to show you is part of the paid extended package of Keyboard Designer. Let's say you want to add a trigger for the Google Voice dictation. On the BlackBerry Passport, you have the voice dictation option here above the period key. If you have the paid version of Keyboard Designer, you can add it like this. Go to the keys page. Change the currently edited design to BBP default if you need to. Select the period key. Then click on Action Hold. For the symbol, click on the Name tab and search for microphone. I like the second symbol shown. Click OK to confirm. You'll see the microphone icon visible on the top right corner of the key for the hold function. For the function type, click on the down arrow to show the list and scroll down to voice input. It's not working on this video because this is running the free version of this app, but if you paid for the extended package, this would be how you set it up. I have this set up on my Unihertz Titan and this is how it looks like. This Keyboard Designer app looks very complicated at first, but once you understand how it flows and some of its terminology, it's easy to set up, although a bit tedious. But once you have it set up, it's very satisfying to have something working the way you want it to. I don't feel this app is necessary for normal phones with on-screen keyboards, but for phones with physical keyboards, I think it can make a huge difference on the experience if you're willing to put in the time.